Kingdom has started its own history class.
This is a legendary run by a legendary team. You got to enjoy every minute of it.
Tagovailoa is in trouble. Sacked. Passes caught. Touchdown. Stone Cold gets the big sack.
The Chiefs enjoyed a few extra days off after another crazy finish last week, and now with the chance to win the division for a 9th straight year, we're back in prime time to take on the LA Chargers. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, pretty simple for the Chiefs tonight. Win this game, and we're division champs yet again.
Yeah, the first box you check is get to the postseason. They've checked that. The next one is to win the division, and don't take for granted to win it 9 straight years. We know historically it's crazy. You know, we just had a special event with Tom Bahali going to the Ring of Honor tonight.
Look alive.
He actually incoming.
We're on the field.
So they started it. Actually, Tamba, his last year was the first year the Chiefs won back-to-back division titles in 2017. He came back from a knee injury to play against Miami. Think of what's happened since then. It'll be hard tonight. But, yeah, there's a big prize just waiting out here to win the division for a 9th straight year, second NFL history.
Yeah, if the Chiefs win this game here tonight, it'll mean a 4-game lead and the tiebreaker over the Chargers with only 4 games left in the season. It would wrap it up. Now, if the Chargers win this game, the Chiefs would still have a 2-game lead with 4 games to go. Gets a little bit more complicated, though. We couldn't clinch until at least Week 16. Let's just finish it tonight, right?
Well, that's the other side of this discussion. This game is so big, it feels like a playoff game. It's felt playoff vibe all week long around the practice facility in the fact that if the Chiefs lose this game, cannot clinch next week in Cleveland. That means you dive into those 3 games in a 10-day span, having to try to win it in that mix. And that it's just going to get hard to do as we move forward. We know about the bye, but first things first, win the division tonight.
I spent way too much time on the ESPN playoff machine.
Oh, yeah.
Just like messing with permutations. Let's just win it here tonight. Won't be easy, though.
That's the easiest math.
It really is, exactly. Chargers are playing good football right now, though, as you alluded to, especially on defense. This is the #1 scoring defense in the NFL, and it's interesting because they're kind of middle of the pack in a lot of categories, but they've been really good in 2 key areas. So third down defense, they're second best in the league, and red zone defense, they're third best in the NFL.
Your base subjects of defense, and you've learned this from Spags, or scoring defense, third down, red zone. They're getting A's in all 3. Right now, this is your valedictorian defense of the National Football League, and they're playing so much better than they did when we faced them in Week 4. This is a defense that's a flesh-eating group. They're pressuring, they're covering, they're taking the ball away with 17 takeaways. So the Chiefs have got to go to work tonight. This will be a hard game.
And red zone is really the key for me here in this one, because the red zone is where the Chiefs have struggled over the last several weeks. So over the last 4 weeks specifically, they're only 7 for 17 in terms of red zone touchdown efficiency offensively. And if you throw out the Bills game where they were 3 for 3, they're 4 for 14 over the last 4 weeks in the 3 games other than the Bills game. That's 40 potential points left on the board. So 12 points against the Broncos, 12 against Carolina, and 16 against the Raiders. That's why these games are close, because we're not finishing in the red zone. Could be the difference here tonight.
That and the fact that we're not taking the ball away. It's hard to blow a team out if you don't take the ball away. And so this red zone thing has been up and down like your investment accounts. You think at one time it was 11 out of 13. Remember that stint?
Yeah.
Where the Chiefs went from the 28th in the league all the way to 11th. Oh my gosh, this meteoric rise. And now it's back down in the 20s because of what you said, 24th, I believe. So tonight in a game like this, told you it feels like a playoff game. The margin is so slight that those 7s have got to be, not 3s, but 7s. Those are the 4-point plays that Spags talks about. Tonight they need to be 7s.
Now, another reason the Chargers defense has been so good this year is the pressure they've created. So since Week 8, they lead the NFL with 23 sacks. And protection's been an issue for the Chiefs lately, last 2 weeks allowing 5 sacks in each game. Now, we don't know who's going to start at left tackle tonight, but for the sake of conversation, if it's DJ Humphries, which is a possibility, what are some reasonable expectations for him?
Reasonable is the key, because we need to be reasonable with DJ Humphries. He is 11 months from an ACL injury. He got hurt last year at the end of December. Actually, it was New Year's Eve. And when you think of, not all ACL recoveries are the same, they're all different physiology, but when you have a 333-pound human, it's really difficult. And the fact that he's had no training camp, really no full speed work, you're not in pads at all during this time of year, and he's been here a couple of weeks, it's presumptuous to think he's going to come out here and be Willie Roaf. But he is a pro, a 2021 Pro Bowler. The expectations, you ask me, just don't get creamed. Don't give up the lightning quick sack that has happened the last 2 weeks. DJ Wanham, actually 3 weeks. If you go back to Nick Bonito against the Broncos, or DJ Wanham against the Panthers, and then last week with Max Crosby or Caleb on Chason, it's within microseconds that it's on Pat, and he has no chance to do his magic. So if DJ can win a battle for just a click, you and I talk about all the time, just a click, get your body in front of him. You don't have to be awesome, just be way better.
You know, the amazing thing about Patrick Mahomes, though, is even when he was being hit last week, still found Justin Watson in the end zone for a touchdown. Just a remarkable throw and catch. And we had a chance to catch up with Justin on our podcast earlier this week.
And a chance to talk now with Justin Watson, number 84, number 1 on your heart. Okay, this team has been so incredible, unusual. What about this team that makes it the team that wins in such crazy ways?
Yeah, I think more than anything is just the belief. You know, I've been on teams that haven't won a lot of games and teams that have won a lot, and there's something to be said about a team that just always says, we're going to find a way, something's going to break, and we're going to be ready when that chance happens. So, I mean, even this week with the fumble, you know, a lot of teams would have already packed it in, would have been saying, hey, let's just see what happens with the kick. We're ready for anything. So, you know, to see guys be ready to knock that ball away, bolt to jump on it, it just doesn't surprise me because we just always feel like somehow, some way, we're going to get a chance to win.
Justin, I want to ask about your journey because when you signed here a couple of years ago, nothing was guaranteed, but you earned yourself a spot on the team, had done that the last couple of years. You're a 2-time Super Bowl champion now with Kansas City, and 3-time if you include the one in Tampa Bay. Just what your journey, how you got here into this moment. Do you ever reflect and think, it's pretty cool I've accomplished all this?
Yeah, you know, my first year here is probably one of the years I'm most proud of in my whole playing career. I was coming off a year where I was in a contract year, then I tore my knee and I missed almost the entire season. And after the year, Kansas City was really the only team that was even going to give me a chance. And so when I had that knee injury, I thought, man, if I get one more chance to play football, I'm giving it everything I got. And so when I came here, that was it. You know, there was no worry, there was no doubt. I feel like I was playing on borrowed time, and I was just going to give it everything I possibly could. And to come in here with Coach Reed and Pat and Trav and everybody just making you feel like they want you to be a guy that they believe in. Man, I'm just so thankful that to give that second chance in my career and then be able to win a couple Super Bowls and share that with so many family members. Man, I'm just so thankful for my time here in Kansas City.
I remember Patrick talking about him after the Camp Pat stuff in Texas, and he's like, who's this Justin Watson guy? This guy's
fast is this guy? How fast is he? So were you trying to impress him?
Oh, yeah. You know, I definitely could have just coasted under a ball, made it a nice clean catch. But, man, I was every route I was running as hard as I possibly could. And, you know, that was kind of how I run every route, you know, but especially down there, knew it was an awesome chance to make you only get one chance to make a first impression. And so that was my chance and try to take advantage of it.
You're asked to do so much. Every wide receiver is in this system. Like you're not an X, Y, Z slot, you're everything. What about that challenge? And then your blocks to free up Pat for that run against Carolina, and then to follow it up with a touchdown and a record breaker from Pat.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the challenges of playing receiver here in Kansas City is you got to be a smart guy. You got to know every position. You got to know every defense and what Pat's seeing, what Coach Reed wants you to see. And it's an awesome challenge because, you know, for me, that's something I love to do. It reminds me of being in college, studying the playbook, getting in extra reps, asking questions. And, talking about the block against Carolina, that's just something that I think is ingrained in us is just the finish. You know, is every play, if I don't catch it, I'm turning and I'm finding somebody to block. And so as soon as I saw Pat get out of the pocket and I knew, man, he was tucking this thing to run, that was my only mission was, hey, man, who am I going to find to block? And I think that's just a credit to the coaching staff is all of our guys. We're one step quicker because we're not reacting and seeing what happens in the play. We're just going until we hear that whistle.
He had 2 blocks on that play. If you go back and watch it, you had the early block, and then you finished it off. Just the mentality being out there as a wide receiver, you're not getting the ball on that play, but you know I can find a way to help Pat break free. It's not like that everywhere. Not every receiver is that way. When did you become that kind of player where it's like no matter what, I'm going to find a way to help my team win?
Yeah, there's a story I always tell. My oldest brother, Tommy, was born with cerebral palsy, and his whole life he's been in a wheelchair. And there was a time in high school we still had 3 days. It was the last year of 3 days. And I came in, and, man, I'm sore. I'm tired. My feet are bleeding, new cleats, the whole deal. And I'm walking, and I'm complaining to my dad the whole way. I'm complaining. And then we get into the room where my brother's sitting, and he's smiling ear to ear in a wheelchair. And his smile just said to me, Justin, if I had one day in your shoes, man, I would run until I was sick, until my feet were bleeding. And as soon as I could get up, I'd do it again. And so from then on, I said, you know what, man, if my brother Tommy can find a way to smile every day, no more bad days for me. Every play I get, every chance I get, I'm going to play it like it's my absolute last.
That's super cool.
Well, you've smiled a lot being a multi-Super Bowl champion, but now this week a chance to wrap up the division with 4 weeks to go. What does that mean and to try to get it done this week against the Chargers?
Yeah, it's a big goal for us. Every year we say, hey, we want to make the playoffs. We want to win a division. Then you got to, go into the playoffs and win some games there. So for us, it's a huge goal to hang another banner. We call it a shirt and hat week, just finish the division, win a division. And we know we got a great test ahead of us. These guys played us hard the first time, and they're playing their best football right now. So I like that we get to play them here at Arrowhead on Sunday night. I think we got a big advantage in front of our home crowd.
All right, great stuff there from Justin Watson. Obviously a really good player, but also just an amazing dude, right?
This team, I've said it before, but in my 31 years, I think really this is the best group of dudes top to bottom on this team for a lot of reasons. He's another guy whose life is centered around a personal faith, and it's real for him, just so many guys on this team. But tonight, Justin Watson's role may increase because if you think we had 4 elevations off our practice squad, 4. Remember, for weeks we had none. We have 4 in this game. Several of the special teams units tonight will have 3 guys that have never played in an NFL game.
Man.
So Justin Watson, even though we know what he can do as a receiver, may have to have a role tonight in special teams beyond of maybe returner, maybe gunner or bracket guy. But just Justin Watson can help influence a win in this game if he doesn't touch the ball at all, and it might be on special teams.
That's why he's so valuable. We kind of talked about that in the interview. He doesn't really care what his role is. He just wants to help us win, and we could see that play out here tonight on special teams.
Yep.
Should have the inactives here pretty soon. One thing we already know is McCole Hardman's not going to play tonight, and you won't see him on the inactives list. Well, he was placed on injured reserve yesterday. Kind of just a bummer of a situation. Coach said that McCole's knee kind of locked up on him on Friday before practice. He's questionable for this game. We were hoping he could play, but he has now been placed on injured reserve. So hopefully McCole's back for the playoffs.
Well, and Matt, what's difficult about that is when the coaches put together the game plan, which they do very early in the week, and then they present it to the team on Wednesday. And let's say McCole's got several different plays in that. We know how versatile he is.
Yeah.
We also know the obvious in special teams, especially as a punt returner. He's 9th in the league in punt returns. He's got a couple 50-yard returns. He has a 50-yard field goal return here, and then he has a 53-yard punt return. That's gone tonight. You don't have it. And then you don't have him wherever you had him figured in on your game plan because it's late in the week. And so now you're scrounging around. That's 5 wide receivers on injured reserve and 3 tight ends on injured reserve and 2 kickers. So this is a challenge, not having McCole tonight. I'm starting to cringe at these late week injuries that we've had the last couple of weeks because it's more than, if you know early in the week, it's never good, but late in the week, it's triple the problem.
So we just got the inactives here, Mitch. The other thing for the Chiefs we were watching was DJ Humphries, number 70. He is active tonight, so that doesn't mean he's starting, but it's a pretty good indication he might be. So DJ Humphries likely to be out there tonight for the Chiefs, making his Chiefs debut.
And again, here's my Surgeon General's warning. I've been giving this all week long. Even if he does start, it's a little bit presumptuous to think he can play 70 snaps at a high level when he just hasn't had any time to get ready, for the most part, to be realistic. So you have to be ready for anything. You may have to be ready to put Joe Thuney out there. You maybe have to give Wanye some snaps, maybe. But, and maybe DJ goes the whole game. But you just have to be ready. And I think the Chiefs Kingdom has got to be realistic about DJ Humphries here. Everybody wants him to be the panacea for those 10 sacks you talked about. But we just have to just be realistic, Kingdom, on what DJ can do at this point, particularly where he's at with this rehab from the ACL.
You want some breaking news?
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey's not playing tonight, and that is a shock and a huge deal. So Ladd McConkey was dealing with shoulder and knee injuries, was questionable coming in. He is the entire focal point of their passing game. It was one of those things where he was listed as questionable, and we're like, all right, well, he's definitely going to play. Ladd McConkey's not playing, and that's a big deal because he has at least 6 catches for 80 yards in 3 straight games. He was responsible for 80% of Justin Herbert's passing yards last week against the Falcons, and he has twice as many receiving yards as anyone else on the Chargers. Ladd McConkey not playing is a huge deal.
They lead the league in drops. We can talk and extol their virtues, but they are the Chiefs of a year ago. They lead the league in drops. McConkey has 1 drop. So you can figure it out. Now, do they have Darius Davis? Yeah. Do they have Quentin Johnston? Yes. First-round draft pick. He's got 5 drops, some big ones. Will Dissly becomes part of the action now as tight end. They don't have Hurst either. He's on IR. And they don't have J.K. Dobbins. But for the Chiefs defense, win the battle. Get them off the field. We talked about it on DTK and on Field Pad, or on our Kingdom Conversations. Only Denver has more 3-and-outs than these guys.
Yeah.
So flip the field. And get them off the field on 3-and-outs if you can, because that thin margin could be the difference in the game because they're so good on defense.
And you mentioned Dobbins. You won't see him on the inactives list. Well, he's on injured reserve right now. And Dobbins not playing is also a big deal, as you alluded to, because the Chargers run the ball 47% of the time. And when Dobbins is on the field, they average 4.8 yards per carry. When he's not on the field, they average just 3.2 yards per carry. He has the 2nd highest explosive run rate in the league, so they're missing that. And last week in their first game without him, they only ran the ball 17 times. That was a season low for them. And they only gained 187 yards of total offense and didn't score an offensive touchdown. So not having McConkey and not having Dobbins is a big, big deal. And keep in mind, those 2 players have accounted for 43% of the Chargers' offensive yards this year. Nearly half of their offense is missing in this game. Big deal.
I mean, Jalen Reagor, they have now to try to fill in the gap there a little bit. We mentioned Davis, but not having Hayden Hurst is also a big deal for them. But what they do have, they did not have in week 4, are their tackles. They did not have Joe Alt, whose daddy, John Alt's a great dude, played my first year of doing the games. He was our left tackle, great all-pro. And then they have also the left tackle back in Rashawn Slater. This is a good offensive line, a lot of first-round picks. 3 of them actually start. So they have those guys back. And you would think that they need and want to run the ball tonight, whomever's carrying it. Maybe it's Hassan Haskins, who played for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, but he fumbled last week. And these guys only have 6 giveaways. 6 giveaways. Herbert, does it not astonish you? He's had 305 passes in a row with that interception. If he goes tonight,
was in week 2.
He'll tie an NFL record, Tom Brady, if he has 15-plus attempts tonight, which he will, and doesn't have an interception. So what Jim Harbaugh has told Justin Herbert, do not turn it over. You will not turn it over. But to do that, then you've got to get a run game from someplace. And not having Dobbins, and again, not having McConkey, who's become 3rd-down receiver guy too, for them is a big deal. But the Chiefs have got to take advantage of it.
You know, a player who had a lot of defensive success against the Chargers in his career?
I just talked about it. I just gave his stats. You know what he had against these guys?
What?
An interception.
He did?
Tamba had a pick against them in his 2nd year. He had 2 picks in 11 years.
I don't remember that.
He had 2007, he had an interception. He was shaking his head. I go, so do you have his stats? I'll let you read them off.
Well, he had 89.5 career sacks. I think we all know that. Second to only Derek Thomas in franchise history.
13.5 of those against the Chargers.
Okay.
So, yeah. But the interception in 2007, and he had a bunch of hits and hurries. He was good against these guys.
Well, as I mentioned, and you talked about, Thomas being inducted into the Ring of Honor here tonight. And I had a chance to catch up with him earlier this week to figure out what this honor means to him. All right, we're joined now by Chiefs legend Tamba Hali. And Tamba, you're going into the Ring of Honor tonight. Just first question, what's this all mean to you?
It's hard to speak about because it's such a humbling experience. It's for the city, Clark Hunt, and the family voting me into the Hall of Fame. It's not something I look towards, but I'm very humble. I'm honored to be, amongst the great ones that came before and the ones that would come after, just to be around among those people. It's a humbling experience for me.
How did you first find out that this was going to happen? Did you get a call from Clark, or what happened?
Yeah, I did on April 27th. Clark called, and I missed his call. And I called him back. I spoke with the receptionist, and she got me Clark, and we spoke about it. And I said, it's not something you put on your goals. When you get to the facility when you're a rookie, you're trying to win games, you're trying to get better. And 12 years later, you're with the organization, and they think that highly of you. So it's still hard. I'm still processing it as time goes on, just based on the fact I wasn't from this country, and I came in this country, and all these accolades that's been achieved. It's still hard to process, but again, I'm honored, I'm humbled to be accepting the award.
When you first stepped on the field for the Chiefs way back in 2006, and you looked up and saw all the names in the Ring of Honor, guys like Derek Thomas and Neil Smith, you ever think maybe one day if I play well enough and play long enough, my name could be up there?
No, I can't tell you I ever did. What I do remember is Ryan Sim, our first round draft pick from North Carolina. When I got there, he said, if you keep getting sacks, I think I had gotten a sack. He said, if you keep getting sacks, you have this entire stadium wearing your jersey, screaming your name. That enough was motivation for me to go out there and try to give my best every time.
Yeah, a lot of 91 jerseys now, even long after your playing days are done. I still see people wearing Taba Ali jerseys at the stadium. You talked a little bit about your journey to the United States. You have an incredible story, and I believe you just got back from Liberia. But you came to America when you were young, escaped a civil war back home. You didn't even want to play football initially, is my understanding. You just wanted to play soccer. Do you ever reflect on your journey about how it began and where you are now and how remarkable it's been?
Yeah, sometimes it's surreal for me because I'm living this life, and all the obstacles that I've been through. As we spoke on the war that started in '89 in Liberia, escaping '94 and getting to New Jersey. My father coming back filing for us, and not being able to read and write in the fifth grade. ESL. Getting to high school, and I'm good at basketball. I want to play basketball. It's my basketball coach that's telling me, no, you're going to play football, because I was actually good at basketball, but I wasn't going to be as tall as those guys. And it was the basketball coach encouraging me to play football. And I played. I didn't play knowing, oh, you can get this or you can get that. I just enjoyed the game. It was simple for me. Coach Heck, he told me, put your hand in the ground and just go get the guy with the ball. That can't be any easier for a guy who doesn't know the game. Um, and then getting to Penn State and playing for Joe Paterno. While I was there, it was a rebuilding time, and I was still, again, adapt into the environment. Trying to, all the people around me are intelligent, very smart people, and I'm still catching up, but yet I'm still playing ball, trying to figure it out. And then I get to the Chiefs, and it's a roller coaster. It's also a rebuilding time. We just lost the owner, Lamar and Clark. I believe I'm Clark's first and Lamar's last draft pick. And yeah, and 12 years later, different GMs, different head coaches. So I could never have said in me, oh, your goal is to be in the Ring of Honor. But to be here today and receiving this award, I know it's not just about me. It's about the people that have surrounded me, have come around me to help me on this journey to be where I am today. And so it's really a celebration of the kind of people that we've come around since we got to the United States to be where we are today to accept this award.
Well, Tamba, I'm so happy for you. No one's more deserving of this than you. You epitomize everything the Chiefs are all about and this franchise really stands for. So congratulations. Enjoy this amazing event. And you're a legend, man. Thank you for everything.
Thank you again, Matt. I appreciate it.
All right, great stuff there from Tamba. Just so happy for him. The stats are obviously eye-popping. I said 89.5 career sacks, trails only Derek Thomas in franchise history. But in so many ways, he epitomizes what it means to be a Chief. So just so happy for him tonight.
I'll repeat it. I guess I brought it up. If we win tonight, it's 9 straight division titles. Tamba started this.
Yeah.
Because he was part of the back-to-back. in 16 and 17. You remember how awesome we're thinking. We won back-to-back division titles. Never happened since the franchise started. And Tombo only played a few games that year, but he got back. Made sure he was back for that Christmas Eve game here against Miami to clinch it. So Tomba has ownership. The other thing I brought up is he works so much with George Karlaftis and Felix Enudike-Uzama. Derek Johnson was part of the panel, and he said, you always went to Tomba University, right? Well, that's the same. He still works with our guys, Tomba does. And, of course, he has all that jiu-jitsu training, but Tomba's still involved with his franchise and helps.
I'll put you on the spot. What's your favorite Tomba memory of all time? Could be a play or a moment.
No, it was camp.
Okay.
It was camp, and he was going through, this was way back, like at the beginning of his career, and I didn't know, like he was so, sit there was mesmerized watching his workout, and he's like, hey, come out here for a second. And he's like, you know, and I'm in a pretzel, and like my head's, and like I'm done here, I'm out. He was just a tireless worker, still is.
I think my answer is more mainstream. Be a strip sack against Tom Brady in 2014, the Noise record game.
Kind of felt like a night like tonight, you know, a little bit warmer, but still.
Well, I was going to say, with Tomba in the building, how about we have another game like that, an electric game where hopefully we lock up?
How about one of his pupils, George Karlaftis or Felix Enudike-Uzama, do the same thing?
Yeah, strip sack on Justin Herbert.
And then point to where Tom is setting.
I love it. I did it for Tomba for 91. Let's do that for Tomba here tonight as we try to lock down a 9th consecutive division title. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.